Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to another exciting episode of Psychology Talks. And today I'm your host, Amreen Nadeem. We're going to discuss science and of human behavior and leadership and mindset that shape human behavior that creates extraordinary impact. And I'm so honored today that we have the guest, Dr. JayR McIntyre. He is a combat veteran, entrepreneur, and leadership strategist whose background spans almost 14 years of U.S. Army service, including combat experience and recognition with Bronze Star, as well as leadership roles in the private sector as founder and executive. And throughout his journey, uh, JR has worked closely with leaders, veterans, entrepreneurs, and young people, focusing on resilience, discipline, and personal development. So let's welcome Dr. JR McIntyre. Thank you so much for joining us.
How you doing? Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. So I gave a very brief introduction about you. I know that you had like the very vast experience of working in U.S. military and then like coaching leaders in the private sectors,
Right.
and mostly your work is linked with building resilience in the leadership. So just tell us about your journey, that from where you started, what the struggles you faced, and how you ended up here in this role today.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your beautiful podcast. Thank you for having me as a guest. I thank everybody. Thank all the guests out there. Everybody who's watching. I'm just a kid from Long Beach, California, born and raised. Um, Grew up. My mother died of AIDS. She was homeless. She was on crack
Wow.
cocaine. I saw a lot of stuff like that growing up, gang banging, drugs, violence, all that stuff growing up in California, Long Beach, Compton, Los Angeles. It's not a poor me story, but it's something that as a kid we saw growing up and watching it and seeing my mother die at an early age. It was hard, watching her go through all the things. And, she died when I was 9 years old. 9 years old.
Wow.
So seeing that, seeing her suffer, seeing her go through all her trials and tribulations, seeing her on her deathbed, seeing her on the night before she died, and seeing her going through her 12-step process of trying to get healed, but it was too late. Seeing her
Mhm.
try to win her family back, but she was already stricken with the disease that it was already done. So watching her fight and go through all that, and just understanding as a little boy that life is harsh. I got my mother took away when I was small. I thought I was the only one that didn't have a mother until I met other kids that didn't have both parents or didn't have a mom or a dad. And I started to understand life as a whole. And then from there, doing a bunch of crazy stuff, going to jail, and then after that, I went to the United States Army, and the Army saved my life. It took me from
Okay.
one war on the streets to another war on terrorism. So
hmm I mean, yeah, you had like you just summed up very briefly, but of course, these each phase has its own struggles and challenges. Like especially, it. I'm so sorry that you lost your mother so early in your life, and of course, nobody can replace it, that that place, of a mother, and I'm sure it would have been very very difficult for you to actually cope up with that, but you are here again, like you one after another you shared that you had so many challenges, right? um, but you faced it with courage, and that's why you're here. And you mentioned that like you joined US Army and that saved your life, so
right.
tell us a bit about it, that how it impacts you as a person, and how that service in the US military saved you.
Um, yeah, definitely. I was trying to fight it. My father was trying to tell me to go into the Navy early on after high school when I rebelled, ran away from it, got into a lot of trouble, hung out with the wrong
Mhm.
crowd, and then all of a sudden, um, when I got out of county jail, I was enlisted in the United States Army 3 weeks after that, and it took me from understanding like, all right, you just a kid growing up in this inner city. There's nothing else after this. There's a whole nother world after growing up in the hood we just don't see. And when I joined the army, I went to basic training, conformed, tried to fight it. And my first duty station, they sent me to Germany, and it was it was a whirlwind. It was wild. It's like I never seen anything outside of the city that looks like this, and I was like, I can do this. And I made some great friends around the world. Lost some great friends in combat around the world, but saw and learned so many of the human people, like just different races and personalities. And when you're in the military, it's not just people from California; it's people from all around the world. And you get to know and understand and love and like, oh wow, you have a similar story.
Hmm. Yeah, so actually, you got the diverse experience from military, and then you got to
Yeah,
meet lots of other people. So I'm sure it has impacted you a lot in you, especially um, in your leadership role.
right.
And then like I know that you are coaching leaders also, helping them build resilience. So how, like after completing your service with U.S. military, how you joined this role? Did it happen by accident, or you really wanted to have that role?
Well, that role was innately put inside of me by my father for to be a leader, an entrepreneur, a businessman, a speaker, a motivational speaker, a life coach. So I didn't
Mhm.
know that was put inside of me. I didn't know that's what he was doing. But my dad did everything that I was doing right now when I was little. I saw him do. I saw him coach. I saw him give advice. I saw him talk. I saw him give messages. I watched him while we were struggling growing up. He was still doing what he needed to do. So, once I got in the army and learned who I was, I learned how to lead people into combat as a leader and bring them home. You know, failing was one of our biggest things out there in combat because we lost a lot of guys, but we learned a lot of things during that trial by fire and combat and just as kids. I was a kid, so I'm 45 now. So imagine in 2002 when I joined and to 2016 when I retired. So I was in my 20s all the way in my combat years, all my 30s. So learning that and learning that at a fast pace, if I make one wrong move, that I could lose my whole squad or my whole team or my whole platoon. So
Yeah, so basically you're following your father's footstep,
yeah,
right? Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So um, and like you teach, you help leaders, right, and developing their strong leadership. So tell us about that, how you help them build a leadership, because a lot of people actually think that leaders are born, but of course there are ways like you can instill that skill into and develop the leadership. It's not a trait that is you get it from the birth. You can develop
right.
it. So tell us about it, that how you help leaders to develop like resilience and build a strong leadership.
I believe that leadership, you are born with it, but you have to activate it. Right? Everybody has that gene or that situation in their body where it's fight or flight, but you have to activate that leadership skill. And if you don't activate it, then then it's a trait that you leave alone. But if you activate it, then you got to also understand in this coaching world and motivation, it's huge. A lot of people are making money. A lot of people are talking behind the camera or behind the phone and on the stages. But I am a firm believer of I cannot tell you to do something if I've never done it, right? And a lot of people out here are doing things or coaching and getting good, great opportunities, but they never have done them situations. And I call that a hypocrite because if you leave,
Yes.
do that and something happens to them, you are responsible for their mind, body, and soul. Why would you tell them to go forward here if you never even went that way? You heard of somebody going that, but you never ventured that way. But what we have now is these coaches out here that are doing that, and I never wanted to be that one. So I picked the lane. I know what I'm doing. I know who I am, and I can point you in a direction where I have been and how to get over that situation.
Yes, I think that's the dilemma these days, that a lot of people come into coaching and they don't know what they're teaching. So that's one thing. I see like every day, especially on LinkedIn. I think it's everybody's trying to sell their programs, and what I really I feel surprised that how people can claim it so confidently when I can like even see that they are not even capable of that, or they've not been through this.
Right.
So this is something that really really important, that coaches, especially like you. should teach or should develop skills what they have developed themselves. So especially like you shared that you have served U.S. military, which is really definitely a very under pressure, which is a high pressure environment, right? And that's what exactly you help leaders to perform, especially under pressure, like where the pressure is high. So just tell us about it, that what happens when a mind is in under pressure. What are the basic instinct that comes up directly with that mind follows a default mechanism, and then how to cope up with that and how to stay calm in those situations.
Well, I wasn't born to learn how to stay calm in these. The experiences that I had was trial by fire. It was like either you learn or you die, and we
Yeah.
learned it and we figured it out and understood as kids how to understand how to operate when all the madness was going on, shooting, dropping bombs, people here, people there, doing all these crazy things. We have to stay calm, and my job was very calm too because I had to control the air assets, so I had to talk to the pilots and people in the ground controls and make sure precision fires were dropped and all that stuff. So you got to understand in leadership is that's just the first step. Now after that is how you push your people forward, how you encourage them, how you motivate them, how you stay consistent. A lot of us we take the foot off the gas when we win one type of prize. Be consistent, keep going, understand who you are, test the limits, become who you are, become that better version. So that's what I test with people. I want them to understand, get a good taste of leadership, and become that better version of themselves.
Yeah. Like you mentioned that, especially you had this, you have been, you have that experience, when you have to stay calm, otherwise you die. But in usually in normal life, yeah, especially when these leadership roles, there is no such situation. There is, I would say there is a threat, which mind perceives it as a threat, but it doesn't require that kind of sense of urgency or emergency. Well, when mind has to operate on that. So how do you teach that skill? Because of course there is the urgency is there, but it's a different type of urgency.
Right,
So
right.
in leadership, as I believe that, especially like if I recall my days with the corporate world, and it's sometimes when we were with salespeople, usually they used to say that it's kind of a war, and then you need to see it as a competitor. When they are putting their brands first, we need to go before them so we can actually grab the market share or something like this. So in that situation, what I feel is that when the situation requires urgency, right? In those situations, the people who are in the market or who are in those roles, they need to perform the way they are in the war. But actually it's not the war, they are living in that. So it's kind of a pressure, but in a different way. So
Right.
what exactly, exactly you tell them techniques to have that urgency, but having that calm, but again, like having that keeping that scenario in mind, keeping them motivated to have that kind of urgency. You understand what what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what exactly, how the scenario is working, and how do you help them be the leader and be the first one, and and seeing them as a war and not as a war as well.
Well, now out here without the war and stuff like that, I teach
Yeah.
business consultation and consultation, and um, I tell them if they don't act a certain way or do a certain thing or understand, let me know so I can help them
Yeah.
find the answer. Because the end state of business, which I teach business, is bankruptcy, right? So I went through bankruptcy. I understood. I didn't understand what I was going through, but when I went through it, it helped me understand. It helped people mentally because I didn't understand how to pivot. That's why I wrote the book, The Power of the Pivot, on Amazon, because I didn't understand how to pivot, when to pivot, and if it was the right pivot. And when I went
Yeah.
bankrupt, it was just me. I lost everything by myself. I didn't have nobody to talk to an entrepreneurship business and what it feels like if I fall down and who do I go to. So when I fell down, I tried to become the resources so I could help other business people and other veteran business people, coach them through that. So that's the type of life and death I'm talking about on business. Is if you don't do it right, you will lose your ROI, you will go bankrupt, you will do the wrong pivot, all these things. So
Yeah, so basically, what I'm getting from your this discussion is that you actually prepare them to be ready to face the consequences, that if they don't take action, they will have some consequences, and they need to be ready to do this. And I think the better they plan, the better they will perform. But
yes,
sometimes, and most, I would just say that most of the time, that we plan, but plan doesn't happen the same way. So do you also tell them that you need to have the plan B ready or something like this? And even in that situation, what do you think, that how our mind process this information, and how it is ready to, because in that situation, what I feel is that the most important thing is that managing our fear. What do you think, that how they can actually manage their fear? Because we understand that being ready, being prepared is very important, but, and of course these consequences are there, we have this all scenarios coming up in the mind, but that also creates a sense of fear. So what do you think, how do you help them overcome that fear?
I'm just constantly be there for them and show them real life scenarios. It's of course it's fear with starting a business and starting something brand new, whatever you're trying to do. It's going to be fear. It's going to be people ear telling you that you cannot, and it's going to be people be telling you that you can. And you just got to make sure you understand that this is the better version of you. You got to step out on good faith. You got to understand who you are. And, everything ain't gonna work, and everything might work. So you never know, but you just got to jump into it head first, be positive. And I tell them, I said, if this is what God wants from you, first of all, if this God is part of your business plan, we're gonna push forward with this, because a lot of people are doing businesses that was never meant to be theirs, right? They want to make
Yeah.
money, but it was never blessed in their heart. So they
Mhm.
see stuff that's making money or is trendy. Do something that God bless you with, so you can move forward and honestly understand that, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing at this part in time in my life.
Yeah, I think that's very important point that you bring up here. That they should know that what is their purpose in life. Otherwise they don't know what they're doing, and everything becomes very temporary if they don't have the purpose. So that's, I completely agree. But I was just, when I was going through your profile and everything, yeah, it says that you're 10 times best-selling author also. So you've written like at least 10 books. So
Yes.
tell us about your book. That what all your books are about, what subject, what topics, and what have you shared in these books?
Well, a lot of my books are from everything that I have experience coming from the block to the board, the elephant in the room, the power of the pivot, the janitor. All these books that I'm putting out that are on Amazon right now that you can read are stuff that I have been through that can possibly leave some crumbs from people to try to get through their situation. Like, you know what? I'm not alone. So yes, when I write these books, they're coming straight from my heart, my mind, and you know what I'm saying, they're quick reads, but I need people to know that they need to understand that as a coach, you don't need to do hours and hours of talking and reading. Hey, this is what I did. Here's the answer. Turn the page. This. There it is, right there. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, all your experience and your learning, and that's really important, that you know people need to share their learnings and experience. Otherwise, because I believe there are two ways to learn only, either from our experience or from others' experience. And I think the best way to learn is from other experience as well, because you don't have to experience everything.
right.
And again, the best way to learn from others experience is by reading books, and of course like listening to podcast. And but I still believe that reading books give you so much wisdom and understanding, that I think nowadays there's a trend that people actually watch like podcasts or short videos or something, because it gives you, it gives knowledge no matter what, definitely it is. But the thing is that when you read a book, it clears everything from the beginning till end. It has a complete, you get the view. So I think it's very important that people should start reading books and not just stick to short TikTok videos or something like this. It's
Yeah,
good. I'm not saying that it's not good. It gives you not way more knowledge as well.
right.
But in order to develop an entire perspective, to understand or develop wisdom, I would just say it's important to read books. So I really love to read books. So definitely I'll order some of your books as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you have a diverse experience, right? From you shared that from the childhood you had a troubled childhood, then you joined military, then now you're in coaching. If I ask you that, what one event or what was the time that actually changed your life or changed your perspective, I would love to know that what was that time that impacted you, that changed your life?
Well, several things during my tenure as a man growing up that changed my mind and my perspective. And
Mhm.
the last thing was the bankruptcy that I went through in 2022, and understand that good heart don't pay bills. You can give,
Mhm.
you can give, but when you go down, who's there for you, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's what you find now too. And now I know why coaches and motivational speakers they charge what they charge, because when you get up on these stages and you give this advice and you speak life into people, it helps them. But people will keep draining you if you let them. You know what I'm saying? If they
Mhm.
call in the middle of the night, I just want to talk an hour, 45 minutes, and always dumping, dumping, dumping. Where do you go to go give that back to, right? So a lot of people don't understand that coaches and motivational speakers and stuff, where do we go to go get coached and are motivated? How do we stay like that? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I have my little pinpoints of throughout my life that keeps me motivated and what I can go back to, and I definitely don't want to feel what I went through in 2022. And those are still effects going on in 2026. But I just want to be, like I said, a better version of myself and understand who I am. And if I can fix me, then I can help somebody else fix them going through that same exact scenario.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing, and I think that's your mission is so strong that keeping you motivated as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, since as like this show is all about like how leaders can actually lead under pressure situation, and so in that context I was thinking that when there is when there's a situation which is a high pressure situation, the basic thing is that like leaders or whoever is making a decision is out of time. They have a very very short time to make a decision. um, what is the best practice that you teach that make the best decision in short time, because it's so important that not to freak out, not to get panicked, and focus on the right thing. But again, when we are in the situation when there is a high pressure, we lose focus, and sometimes we focus on emotions or on something else. What do you teach that how to maintain the right focus on the right thing and make quick decision in those situations?
Well, it's a gut feeling that you have that you want to make sure that you don't want to feel what you felt before, but you also want to feel something new. And you know, like I said, that you're trending in that when it feels a certain type of way. I can't describe that feeling, but you will understand it once you start operating in the gift that you are blessed with. I know that waking up and yeah, I want to make money and I want to do things that I need to do to take care of myself and my family. But sometimes when I was doing other things, I was waking up, I used to dread it. I don't want to do this, dragging my feet. Every morning now that I wake up, I can't wait to speak, can't wait to do my podcast. Can't wait. Like right now, I'm on my way to California. I leave, the Uber comes to get me in the next 30 minutes. So I go to California to go speak at Los Angeles Tribune, and then the next day a movie premiere, and then come back to get ready for a week-long project with Steve Harvey. These are things that you know that maybe back in the day it'd be like this is too much, but no, I'm exhausted, but I can't wait because them boys, the people, they can't wait to see me. They need me, and this is what I've been prepared for.
Yeah. Again, this like again you're highlighting very important point that when you are actually when your work is aligned with your passion, with your purpose, you don't get bored and you don't get exhausted also, because you have the mission to follow in your life.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps you excited. So again, like this leads me to another question, that how to find our purpose and how to find our passion, because a lot of people are lost these days.
Right. Well, I would tell people too, because social media is big. Get off social media for a little bit and understand who you are. We're watching people get successful or say they're successful and say this is a thing to do. But you will know how to find your passion, your gift, and your purpose when you feel it inside of you and God places that. It takes something, and this would happen to me, terrible to happen for me to say, oh wow, this is what I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be going that way a long time ago, but I was taking the easy route because it looked easy, and the easy route was nothing but turmoil. So
Mm.
know you're doing something right when it's rocky, when it's like, oh, because now it's resistance. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, and it's going to keep pushing forward. It's going to test your perseverance, your confidence, your consistency. Everything about you is going to get tested, and you know you're moving in that purpose when you wake up and you know that you can't wait to get tested the next day because you love. This is what you do. This is who you are, and you are meant to face this trial and tribulation.
Yes, yes. But the thing is that most of the people actually step back when they face trials, when they face challenges, when they face uh, these troubled time. They may try one or two more time, but then they give up. And I think that's where the problem starts. So I think the most important thing is that um, when these challenges occur in the life, we need to take it as a stepping stones, or see it as an opportunity to become better. As you said, that we need to become better, not from any other person, but become a better version of ourselves,
But
because we are our own competitors.
yeah,
No, there's no other competition outside. It's just that we have to struggle, we have to be the best version from the yesterday. So I think that's how it is very important.
yeah,
So can you tell us that how to maintain that kind of discipline, how to develop that kind of resilience?
yeah. Actually, just wake up. I know it's cliche every day, and just get to it. Consistency, resilience, bounce back, knowing that a problem will occur. How will you address it, right? Even me going through my doctorate program, I never met anybody like myself doing that. So it was hard, but I'm not telling everybody it was easy. I just stayed the longest. Yes, I got tutored. I wasn't the smartest, but I made it through all my things I needed to get through to become who I am now. So you want to be tested, but you just got to understand that just keep pushing forward and be resilient. If you get knocked down, I know it's cliche, get back up and keep pushing forward. And that's where a
Mm.
lot of separation happens. We're going to get knocked down. Some
Yeah.
humans don't continue, and that's okay because maybe that's not your purpose. But those who do continue, that's what that grind and grit is.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. That's really powerful. Like you said that that when leaders are making a decision, they also need to follow the gut, the emotion also, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think? What role emotions play, especially in decision making, in the leadership role?
What role are emotions?
Yeah.
I tell people all the time in business, you shouldn't have too much emotion because
Mm.
emotion will override that gut feeling of what you're seeing, and you might make the right decision off the gut, but you also might make the wrong decision off of that grind. So
Mm.
remove that emotion part of it. If that's your brother or your sister or your wife or your friend that you're working with, remove that family member emotion and say, hey, we have a deadline we have to hit. If we don't hit this, we can't make payroll. All right,
Mm.
we don't make payroll, nobody else gets paid in here. And that's what I should
Yeah.
have done when I had my company because 4 years I didn't receive a paycheck. I was putting my paycheck back in the company, but sometimes we would miss payroll. And I would have to let them know that, hey, if y'all don't put these stipends in and these invoices and all these things and bill the people that we're doing, because I had a security company, we will not make payroll. They didn't understand that. People want to get paid, but they don't want to do the job.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's very powerful again, that emotions are important, but they need to manage. I think that's what all emotional intelligence is all about, that that emotions are there, but you should not be, just dwell in those emotions more, because
Right.
if you stay there, it's gonna impact your decision. And
Yeah.
that's again and as you said, that those overpowering emotions that may override your gut feeling, and
Yep.
then again, you'll miss the idea. I want to ask that nowadays, there's so much AI, like there's artificial intelligence there, and there's always data available, and there's decision making is more, I would say, data driven. And sometimes, in some cases, um, it's kind of like the AI decides, right? That they need to do this. Like nowadays, even if we see that big marketing strategies are being made with AI, what do you think? What is human decision making is changing, but what is the role of human decision making, especially in this form, in this era of AI?
Well, people got to understand, like when you talk about AI and algorithms and all these things, we are the first AI. We are the first algorithm. And if you don't
Yeah.
control the algorithm of your life and you start following trends on social media, that's where we go down the rabbit hole. AI
Mhm.
is, we think we're getting information from AI, but AI is steadily learning the human body every single day. Every single day, what we say, how we talk, how we move, our responses, that's where they get to. Because we are the biggest computer. This is who we are.
Yeah.
Ignited. People, they get it wrong way. It's like, oh, I gotta go to AI. No, it's inside of you. AI could be an assistance, but don't let it be full bearing. You know?
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is very important, and I always also, because you're absolutely right that all this AI is there, this all artificial intelligence is there, but it's all based on algorithms, right? And what we have is, we have our own lived experiences, and sometimes the data shows something else, but when our gut says something else, it definitely, it points towards the right direction. And I think that's where the human intelligence comes in, that this AI is all algorithmic.
Yeah,
It's all, based on those numbers and like all the rationality. But when we come in, our experience comes up because of we lived those experiences. We have lived those moments, and sometimes the contacts uh, maybe is more clear to us as human instead of AI. And again, here, what I want to highlight that um, are, again, it's like we also experience emotions,
right.
which is good and bad, which AI cannot. And
Okay.
when we have that kind of power, we need to understand from this perspective as well, that I think what I we feel is, what I believe is, that this time of, like, in this era of AI, we need to embrace more of our humanness instead of like going following the all the algorithms,
Right.
because those algorithms, of course, can compute much faster than we can. But
Right.
what we have is, our strength is our humanness, our instincts, our intuition, our gut feeling, that actually can guide us way better than maybe AI.
Our
What do you
emotions.
think? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
AI don't have no emotions. Right.
Yeah.
It can't scream and it'll laugh with you. It'll make. I seen AI make a couple of jokes, but they're
Yeah.
standardized. But what they don't have is our humanness, and we have to
Yeah.
maintain that because that struggle for power is them learning they will never, 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 ever become human. But we can
Yeah.
learn that way more. So that's what I tell people all the time: is allow it to happen because this is 2026. It ain't going nowhere. But make sure it works for you, and
Yes.
you train it and you teach it and you understand it and y'all respect each other because it ain't going nowhere. So
Yes. Yes. Because AI, again, as I said, that AI cannot have emotions. AI cannot have empathy. AI cannot understand that that particular decision may be right or something, but somehow it may impact the humanity. So these are the things that which we need, I think, as leaders, to develop more, instead of just following these algorithm or these competition or something like this, because I think in this, as I said, that in this era we need to be more close to our humanness, like the values, empathy, emotions, of course, yes, but in a controlled way, with the emotionally intelligent, not just just going or swayed by the emotions. So I think
Right.
that's something very, very important. So again, this is like, I want to ask again that what do you think that leadership failures are psychological? Do you think they are, or rather than technical? What do you think?
I think it's both. I think if we don't understand the system, it's technical. But if we don't understand our body is psychological, right? And we have to know when there is your body feels that pain or whatever type of pain or that quit. You have to listen to your body too. Like as the older you get, understand who you are, the limitations your body can go. As far as technology, sometimes you have to be able to look outside of it to see that hey, there will be failure. Just when will it happen? There's
Yeah.
no, like you cannot be a better person or a better system or technology in this world if it's not a fail-safe system. If there
Mhm.
don't fail and learn from the people who failed before you and learn that and push forward. So
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. I know this is very, like, we had such a wonderful discussion, and but I'm afraid that we are reaching to the end of the show. So before I close this show, I would just ask you that what one piece of advice would you like to give to our audience today, who's like currently overwhelmed by pressure in their personal or professional life?
um, like I said, I know it's cliche, but I would say, a lot of us that's out here helping people like yourself, we don't get told that we're proud of you and we love you. So I would tell the people on the other side of the screen that are educators, that are life coaches, motivational speakers, teachers, working everywhere, I'm proud of you. Don't quit. There's a road above you and ahead of you that you see, and the light is at the end of the tunnel. Don't make a train come through that tunnel. Get through that tunnel. Make sure you understand who you are. Become that better version. It's going to be trials and tribulations. I'm not sitting here telling you it was easy to sit in this seat. It was hard to get here, but it's going to be harder to stay there. So it's going to be hard, period. So just keep pushing forward, build your character, build your personality, be the authentic self, and you'll have that right there.
Yeah, amazing, amazing advice. I think that is what people need to hear these days, because there are lots and lots of challenges, and we see that this in this world there are lots and lots of problems, and people going through every day, and most of the time people like try, and they give up. And
Yeah,
the thing is that the moment they give up, that means that that was the failure. It was not something that happened to them. It's the decision. Failure is, I would just say, I see it as a decision. Failure is not something that happened to you.
right.
You made it happen. So whatever is like there will be challenges, there will be problems, there will always be troubles. But the thing is that if we stay there and don't take action, those problems became forever.
Right.
So
Definitely.
yeah, so definitely. So thank you so much for the wonderful advice, for such a wonderful discussion that we had about that, especially how I got so much insights about how to actually calm ourselves, how to lead in those situations under pressure, especially because when the stakes are high, when we don't know that how to manage our mind, we need to stay calm in those situations. So I think
Right.
that's something. And what I learned from you, that again, which was really, really important, that one needs to connect whatever they're doing with their purpose. Otherwise there is no sense of fulfillment in their life. So I think, thank you so much. And before I actually, yeah, before I close the show, I also want to just let our audience know that what is the best way that they can reach out to you.
On LinkedIn is JayR McIntyre. At the bottom, you
Yeah.
see JayR McIntyre. On TikTok, it's The Hood Motivator. THA Hood MOTIB8 TOR. Same
Okay.
thing on Instagram. And on, if you type in my name on Amazon, you'll see all my books, Dr. JayR McIntyre. And I can't wait to see you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Thank you for getting it done with me, though.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, these technical things happen every time, so no problem. I know that sometimes when we know that when we are 100% confident that, oh, that's perfectly fine, I think that's when it happens. And
Yeah,
said, oh, what happens? Anyway, so I've shared your links in the comments, and also I shared in the ticker as well. So I hope that audience got to know. And please reach out to Dr. JR. He's an amazing person, and he just give you right motivation if you're in need. So, and thank you so much for coming to my show and sharing wonderful knowledge, wonderful wisdom with our audience. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Let's do it again.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely will do it. Thank you and
Thank-
have a great day.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Bye bye.